Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to perform a bare metal backup on Linux CLI or command line interface using Ahsay OBM. Ahsay provides complete protection for all your Linux servers and desktops running on Red Hat, CentOS, Ubuntu, Rocky Linux, and Debian in both GUI and CLI environments, as well as on Linux virtual and physical machines. Our solution offers customers multi-level protection for Linux servers and desktops in both the physical and virtual environments, all in a single backup, with an easy-to-use recovery ISO that provides an intuitive user interface to guide the customers through the whole recovery process. Leveraging Linux Logical Volume Manager or LVM, which uses snapshot technology of the logical volume on a Linux machine during backup, ensuring total data consistency. Linux LVM Snapshot allows for hot backups to be performed with minimal impact to the services, application, or databases running on a Linux machine. Ahsay Linux Bare Metal Backup allows for recovery of an entire Linux machine, which includes the operating system, configuration settings, drivers, applications, and files to an existing machine or a replacement machine with similar or dissimilar hardware configuration, providing fast and flexible recovery options to reduce downtime and provide total data protection for Linux servers and desktops. Our simplified recovery process minimizes system downtime by removing the need to install or configure Linux on your servers and desktops before you recover your data, as well as supporting backup of a virtual machine with recovery to a physical machine or V2P, or backup of a physical machine with recovery to a virtual machine or P2V. The video will be in two parts. For the first part, I will show you how to create and configure a backup set via Linux CLI. And for the second part, I'm going to show you how to add Ahsay Drive as your destination storage via the web console, and how to run a backup job via Linux CLI. Let's go to my screen and create a backup. Connect to a Linux machine using an SSH client like PuTTY. Log into the root account. Change directory to the bin folder of OBM by entering the following cd command. Enter the following sh script to launch Ahsay OBM. Choose option 1 and enter your login credentials. Select option 5 to generate a new backup set. Then select option 6 for Linux Bare Metal. Ahsay OBM will then create an XML file and save it in the .obm folder. You can configure the backup set settings by using a text editor. You can either quit the run configurator.sh script or open a new SSH session to edit the XML file. For our example, I will choose option 8 to quit and go to the path indicated to edit the XML file. Configure the XML file by using a text editor. I'm going to use VI to configure the backup set settings. Enter the following to open the text editor. After entering the text editor, we are going to configure the following settings: backup set name, temporary directory for storing backup files, remove temporary files after backup, compression type, Linux bare metal setting, selected source, deselected source, enable scheduled backup, daily settings. For our example, we will use a daily backup, so we are going to remove the weekly, monthly, and custom setting in the XML file. Name of the schedule, start hour, start minute, and interval. Destination settings, enable the duplication and the duplication scope. In order to configure the settings of the backup set XML file, we need to input the required settings in the valid data field. For the backup set name, I'm going to input Bare Metal Backup CLI. as our backup set name. The temp folder is the default location where Ahsay OBM temporarily stores backup set index files and temporary restore files. The best practice is to set the temporary directory to another local drive for optimal backup and restore performance. It should not be located on the same partition as the operating system because if that drive fills up, it could cause the backup machine to crash, preventing your backup from running or completing. It shouldn't also be set to a network drive as it could affect both backup and restore performance. For the temporary directory for storing backup files, I'm going to input the path /mnt/data/temp, which is on another drive to store the temporary files in. For the remove temporary files after backup, the default value is Y for yes. We'll leave it on the default setting for our example, which removes temporary files after the backup job has finished. Next is compression type. For the compression type, I'm going to select Snappy, Default, Compression for fast with optimization for local. This is the optimal setting for our backup set type. You can change the compression type at any time after the backup set has been created. Next is selected source. These are the logical volumes, physical volumes, and volume groups that you would like to back up. If you have more than one sources to back up, copy the whole key script, then enter the path in the value data field. For our example, I will input VGS_volume groups in the value data field to select all volume groups on the machine, ensuring complete backup of the entire system, which is useful for restoring a system to its original state in case of catastrophic failure or when migrating to a new hardware or a different environment such as a P2V, physical to virtual migration, of your Linux server or desktop. Next is deselected source. These are the logical volumes, physical volumes, and volume groups that you would like to exclude from the backup. If you have more than one sources to exclude in the backup, copy the whole key script, then enter the path in the value data field. We are going to leave this section blank to ensure complete backup of the entire system. Next is schedule settings. Input Y in the value data field to enable automatic backup schedules. Create a backup schedule to optimize the efficiency of your Linux server or desktop backup. Typically, this entails performing backups every day outside working hours, which also minimizes any impact on end users. When setting a backup schedule, consider the hardware performance of the machine, the network bandwidth, and the retention policy settings. For our example, we will be using the daily settings only. You can set a scheduled backup for weekly, monthly, and a custom setting, but we don't need to configure them for our example, so we will be removing those sections in the XML file. To create an automatic backup schedule, we need to configure the daily settings only. Enter the name of the schedule. I will input daily backup schedule in the value data field. Enter 20 for the start hour and 0 for the start minute to set the schedule to 2000 hours or 8 p.m. Set the interval to -1 in the value data field as we will be using a non-periodic backup. This sets the automatic backup to run every day at 8 p.m. For the destination settings of our backup set, we will be adding Ahsay drive as our storage destination via the web console. In order to do that, we will be removing the local destination settings part and leave it blank for now. After creating the backup set, we're going to log into our backup server and add Ahsay drive as the destination. For the deduplication settings, we have a choice to either enable or disable it. Enabling deduplication will remove duplicate copies of the data that helps save up to 50% of the storage space for Linux bare metal backups. For the scope of the deduplication, we have a choice of whether it would cover the same file within the same backup set or all files within the same backup set. If you select same file within the same backup set, the deduplication applies to the current backup job and it applies to the duplicated contents within a file. If you select all files within the same backup set, the deduplication applies across different files in the backup set. For our example, we will enable the duplication and choose all files within the same backup set as the scope. Enter Y for yes and B for all files within the same backup set in their respective value data fields. When you're done editing the XML file, press Escape, then type :WQ to save the changes made. Go back to the bin folder by typing cd/usr/local/obm/bin. Then enter the sh script sh run configurator.sh to launch Ahsay OBM again. Log into Ahsay OBM again using your credentials. Then choose option 4 to import the backup set settings file that we edited earlier. It will verify the data provided, and if there are no errors, it will prompt you if you'd like to encrypt your backup. Select Y to enable encryption. Ahsay OBM will then give you 3 options for encryption. You can choose between default, user password, and custom. For our example, we will choose option 1 for default, and it will use Ahsay's AES 256-bit data encryption to generate a 44 alphanumeric character encryption key to encrypt your backup set. Remember, once you have selected the encryption settings, it cannot be changed afterwards. If you need to change the encryption settings, you would need to create a new backup set and back up all your data again. Choose option 1 to view the list of backup sets available. Then choose option 3 to select the backup set that we just created. After choosing the backup set, it will display all the settings that we entered in the XML file. Also, it will show the encryption key for our backup set. It is important to keep a copy of the encryption key. If you forget or lose the encryption key, you will lose the ability to access and restore your backup data. Once you have secured the encryption key, choose option 8 to quit Ahsay OBM and open your web browser in order to add Ahsay Drive to our destination storage. On your web browser, log into your backup server and click the User tile. Select the Backup Set tab, then click on the backup set that we just created. Select the Destination tab. Set the backup mode to sequential. If you intend to back up your Linux machine to both Ahsay Drive and a local drive, it is recommended to set the backup mode to concurrent. Since our example only has one destination, we will set it to sequential. Click on the plus icon to add a new destination storage. Choose Ahsay Drive, then click on the plus icon on the lower right to save the changes. Ahsay Drive has now been added to the backup destination storage. Click on the save icon on the lower right to save the changes. Go back to PuTTY and log into Ahsay OBM again. View the list of backup sets and select the backup set that we just created. Ahsay Drive should now be added to the destination name. Verify if the scheduled backup settings are correct. Enter the command cat/root/.obm/log/debug.log to view if the scheduled backup is running with the correct settings. As you can see here, the next backup will run in 22 hours and 33 minutes, which is correct since it is scheduled for 8 p.m. tomorrow night. To run a backup job, go back to the bin folder of OBM and run the following sh script along with the name of your backup set. The bare metal backup has successfully completed. And that's how to perform a bare metal backup on Linux CLI using Ahsay OBM. With Ahsay, your data is fully protected, armed with the latest technology like immutable backups, where your backup data will never be encrypted, deleted, or modified for total protection against hackers and ransomware. Strong AES 256-bit data encryption ensures that your data is encrypted during transit and when your data is stored to prevent anyone from reading your data without your permission. Two-factor authentication to prevent anyone from accessing your data without your permission. Multi-destination backups to store your backup data in more than one storage destination and across many geographical regions for maximum protection against natural disasters, fire, or conflicts. And data deduplication, a feature that removes duplicate copies of data that helps you save up to 90% of your storage space, with significant savings on your data storage costs, as well as much faster backups. That's why you should choose Ahsay. Your data is safe with us.